All right, greetings and salutations. Welcome to another DIG Agency Ask Me Anything session. It's a pleasure to be here. It is March 4th, 2025. And the purpose of this video, this live stream, is very simple. It is to answer your questions as it relates to anything insurance, sales, and marketing. So I have probably the next 30 to 60 minutes, depending on how many questions we've got in the chat, to do just that. So to be more specific, it doesn't matter if you're interested in joining the DIG agency or buying any of our products or services. If you are an insurance agent anywhere located across the world and you have questions about how to sell, maybe you're struggling with something and need assistance, maybe you have questions about leads, whatever. The purpose of this call is to really help you out and give you the guidance and direction that you need. So we are mostly live on YouTube. So if you guys have your questions, throw them in the chat and I'm going to work my way through it. I got a few of you on the Zoom here. So I'll answer your questions here and there too as well. And before we get started, just a little fun thing to share with you. So I'm going to share my screen. I do jujitsu. I don't know if you know that. And over the weekend on Saturday, so I live in Chattanooga, and there was a robbery like right in front of the jujitsu school. And some dude literally stole a purse from some grandma and right in front of the academy and ran across while everybody's holding a class at the gym we're at. And then grandma came running behind here. And the story goes, apparently a bunch of our guys at the gym ran down the perpetrator and apprehended him. So I'm showing you guys a picture here. So this is the crew. There's 3 black belts here. This David, Jeremy, and then Ryan. This guy in the back is a purple belt, also a cop. And then this is a brown belt, Ryan. Pretty funny arrangement. Apparently, I asked Jeremy, who's a black belt and always kicks my ass. I said, how did you take him down? And he said, at this point, he was smart enough just to give up. So at least that's the line we're being told. So there still is good in the world, ladies and gentlemen. We're out here saving lives. Sign up for jiu-jitsu, defend the innocent, and get some exercise. It's good for you. So anyways, hope you enjoyed that. I did too. So let's jump into the questions here. So I'm going to jump into the questions in the chat. And look, if I skip over your question or anything, just like restate it. And then I promise I'll get to it. It wasn't intentional. And by the way, if you enjoy this content, it would help right now if you could hit the like button in the YouTube. And that will help share this stream to others who may be on YouTube and interested in selling final expense or life insurance. Okay. All right. So how long after this is from Darlene, how long after the initial application can a person begin writing business? So if this is with us, typically the recruitment process is maybe about a week. The onboarding process is another couple of weeks because you have to get let me turn this down. You have to actually get appointed with the carriers. That takes a week to 2 weeks. And of course, you got to learn how to sell the stuff. So you got to learn the script, the processes on the application in order to submit apps, the underwriting, et cetera. So round trip from the time that you're welcome to join our agency, it's a couple of weeks. Most agents get started at least at that soon, maybe a week or 2 later, depending on their threshold and capability to learn the information. So, and that I find that's true for most of the agents in the business. You need to have some time to learn what you're doing, obviously to learn the carriers, the sales process. And that's typically a good couple of weeks to earnestly learn it. But remember, guys, one of the biggest challenges I have with agents, and I've always had, is there's this preoccupation with perfection. Don't be that guy that has to have everything just so, and never actually arrives at perfection. There is a saying in this business, and it's ready, fire, pull the trigger, and then aim or course correct. And I think you have to accept some level of you're not going to know everything, and you have to have some faith in the process to take that leap of faith and to make mistakes with faith, that everything's going to be okay if you have the right mindset to humbly look at what happened if it's not a success, and from that failure learn from it. And I can attest, as a 40-year-old dude I've made probably more mistakes and failures than the average 25-year-old. And it's those failures that have really shaped my perception of the business and formulated who I am and certainly how I approach doing it. So failure is not necessarily a bad thing. It's a good thing if you look at it the right way. So, okay. Let's see here. So how long from the time you pass the exam to selling in all recommended states? So again, I'll just keep it like general and then also specific to the DIG agency. By the way, if you're watching this, we recruit agents nationally. We specialize in selling final expense remotely over the phone using our free lead system. You can go to daviddufour.com to watch the overview for a more detailed analysis of how it works. If you watched it in the past, we've changed things, I think, in a very positive way. So you may want to get an update to see if what we're doing now is even better, which I think it is. But from licensing, it just depends. After you test, typically you find out right away if you passed or not. But then you've got to apply for the license. You got to do fingerprints. That may add a couple extra days to an extra week or two. It depends on the state. Like California right now, somebody just emailed me and said California is like 45 to 60 days behind on getting agents appointed, which is ludicrous. But really, what can you do? So it's just going to depend on the state. Most states are much better than that. Okay. Accounting for not takens and lapses, is it reasonable to write 5 to 7 apps a week that stick? Yeah, absolutely. I think it's reasonable with the contingency that you actually have a system that produces good leads, that therefore produces good sales presentation opportunities, and also teaches you how to keep more of your people on the phone. Again, one of the things I have learned in this business is that you have to be humble and you have to have this perception of owning problems that occur. And what I mean by that is a lot of the times I used to, at some point in my career, blame more of the leads, the carriers, and all of the kind of ancillary things more as to being the cause for the problems of agents. But what I've realized is a lot of the times it's the agent's ignorance or lack of salesmanship that really results in the lack of results that an agent will experience. So where am I going with this is that, the best thing you can do, and I see this across all of my top producers, what all of my top producers do is they focus on the sales script. They rehearse it repetitively. Then they listen to themselves rehearsing it, ultimately graduating to listening to themselves selling a real life prospect. And it's from that process of hearing that you will learn way more about how sales really is and what you're doing that could be improved than you would ever do just like listening to even me on YouTube, as great as what I do is. Of course, no question. This is the greatest thing ever, right? But truly, not tongue in cheek, listening to yourself and analyzing it is the best thing you can do to just find out where your gaps are. Think of it like in football, right? Like my kid plays football in high school. They watch tape and they watch their plays from the last game. And that's how they get better, is by analyzing their plays. Obviously, their competitions as well, but it first starts with their plays and what they can do better. So yes, I do think 5 to 7 apps is absolutely reasonable. I mean, we have had at times agents write 20 plus apps a week if they have the time and certainly the skill set. As long as the system's in place, it's definitely doable. Is this a good weekend gig, or most people respond more favorably to weekdays? A great question, Richard. Actually, I would say our strongest days for connections and presentations is on Saturday and Sunday. We allow our agents to work Sunday if they want to. It's not required. You set your schedule to what you want for us at the DIG Agency. But in general, yeah, I used to work every Saturday. I probably worked Saturdays for 4 of the 6 years I was full-time in the business because it's great. And I needed to work more. So, I was like, got to do it, right? So this is from the Zoom chat. I'm in California. Can I do California and West Coast? Yeah, you can. But the thing with us, if you're asking in reference to the DIG Agency, Lee, we don't have California as a state that we generate leads from, predominantly because of this long, ridiculous turnaround time to getting agents appointed. It's a great state otherwise. There's so many people. The household income is higher, so it drives premiums higher. But the time it takes to get appointed is it's stupid. And agents need to start selling, otherwise they lose momentum. So we recently actually cut California and stuck in South Carolina, Ohio instead. If you work the 20 hours per week and work hard, what might one expect to make on average? I have no clue. I'm not in the business of giving, income projections, because they're just not truthful, like in the sense of, I can't tell you, like, I don't know what your skill set is compared to this other agents versus another's. I have seen agents who have access to all the same resources literally make nothing. And then I've seen agents who have had access to all the same resources that are making 20 to 25,000 a month, free and clear, in the free league program. But the problem is that where do you fit? That's a pretty wide chasm. I would say that your goal should be to try to make 5 to 7,000 in production in income as quickly as possible, and then grow that up to the 8 to 10,000. That's where I want my agents. I think 6 figures is definitely achievable in this format that we have. But it's hard to say what you can or can't do. Now, for part-time, I mean, I can tell you what I'd like to see. I think for a part-time gig, 20 hours a week, if you could clear 1,000, I think that's good. Is more doable? Yeah. I mean, we've had agents call 20, 25 hours on the phone a week, and they're clearing closer to 2,500 to 3,000. So there's opportunity here, again, with the right system and leads. That's really what it's critical. And of course, sales system, as in how do you get training to get better? Okay. Hello, David. Can you explain the program, how you can group enroll several people in ACA plan? Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, good. We're getting lots of questions here. So that's called ICHRA. I don't know what it means. You can look it up, put ICHRA into Google, but essentially it allows you to go in and do individual Obamacare ACA plans. And but then the employer sets up an account that offsets some of the expense if they want to. And that's how it works. So it's not group health insurance. That's a different product. This is kind of a way to allow some elements of what a group insurance plan is without the cost to the employer, or lesser cost to the employer. I don't know. It's been around. I don't know how popular it actually is. I don't know if the concept is really taken off. To me, if I were selling it, I would be selling the 50 and under crowd, where, covering 50% of the premium a month is like a huge number. And this would be something to possibly consider as an alternative, and in order to control expenses. Okay. Hey, David, I'm completely new to this. I'm waiting for my carrier's approval. Good. What is a reasonable goal for my first 30 days? I'm only work 40 hours a week, more maybe including weekends. A reasonable goal would be to sell 10 to 20 policies in your first full month if you're working full time. I think that's absolutely doable. Again, it's contingent on your ability to learn the material, and then more importantly, to apply the corrections to the mistakes that you make, because we all are going to make mistakes, especially getting started. But the sooner you can figure out those mistakes and then not make them anymore, the better off you're going to be. Okay. So I would say 10 to 20 sales. That's why I positioned our quick start bonus to be 10 sales in 30 days, so that the agent gets a $1,250 cash bonus returned, because I think that's very achievable if the agent just puts in time and at least marginally listens to what we teach. Okay. Hey, Tom. Richard, what would you consider a direct range of cost acquisition for a top producer using your FE direct leads? Like what's the cost? Okay. CPA, probably 250 to 300. It's just going to depend. I think you can cash flow and cover your expenses pretty well on a CPA of 250 to 300. It can absolutely be less than that. But the goal is to create a CPA that allows a cash flow that's significant enough to, after so many sales, to cover your expenses, to break even and then profit on a regular basis. And then from there, figure out how to scale that higher in order to leverage that out as much as possible. CPA, by the way, is the cost per acquisition. Sometimes we call it cost per sale. And basically that means, and the marketing dollars I spend, how many do I have to spend to get a sale? So for example, if my average lead cost is $25 and my cost per sale is $250, I have to buy 10 leads at $25 a piece to make a sale. Does that make sense? So it's a measurement to see how effective our marketing dollars are in making revenue, making a sale. And the goal is to drive that down as reasonably low as possible, and then scale the activity to then extract as much net profit out of the weekly allotment that you have to work. Again, I can go in a little bit more detail if you'd like to, but that's the essence of it. Okay. Hey, Ronald, what about the DIG dialer? Yeah, let me explain what the DIG dialer is. So this is not officially released yet, but the DIG dialer is what we use at the DIG Agency. Shocker. It is the dialer system that our free lead agents use to write business and final expense. We love it because it has technology to better improve connections, to overcome the spam likely filters that so commonly happen. And the system just is proven to get more of your leads on the phone, so you don't necessarily have to spend as much money on leads. It is definitely a higher price ticket item. For us, it's going to be, when we release it, it's going to be $425 a month for the individual agent. That gives you 50 numbers to cycle through as you call in order to keep the numbers fresh and make sure pickup rates are good. But when we did this, when we initiated this dialer, it would take on average about 40 or 45 hours of call time for our average, or not average, for our really good agents to write 10 or 15 sales a week. And then when we switched them to the DIG dialer, what took 40 to 45 hours now takes 20 to 25 hours, because the power of the system is so effective and efficient at getting more of your leads on the phone that their ability to close business is just exponentially higher. So I can't stress enough how important, if you're going to sell final expense or you're already selling final expense, to get the dialer right. Out of all the initiatives on tech that we did last year, this was the biggest one that moved the needle for us. And if anything, it allowed our agents to not work as freaking hard in order to make the same amount of money, which is a definite advantage. So if you want more information at this point, if you're watching this in the future, digdialer.com, and the website's not up yet, but it will be, and it's absolutely worth it. It's also good for agencies, smaller agencies as well. So even if you don't work with us, this is something we're selling. Of course, if you're going to be in our free lead program, you get this exact program I'm talking about. You don't spend anything for it. There's no cost to use it as a free lead agent. By the way, for those of you who are new here, this is the Ask Me Anything live stream. Throw your insurance-based questions in the chat. Happy to answer them. And please smash the like button if you haven't already. That's going to help share this across the YouTube. Hey, Gerald, I started buying leads through the ILC. What's that? An age lead store? Okay, but lately I'm having trouble booking enough appointments. Any suggestions? I make 250 dials each day to run face-to-face. Yeah, I'd have to know what your numbers are a little bit more. I mean, the initial thing I would say is if you're squeezing the juice out of the age leads, then just switch to fresh leads. That might be the solution. It's good that you're doing well with them, but some of that stuff does run dry eventually, and you just got to switch it up to something else. And fresh leads seems to be the logical next step. So like direct mail, if you're face-to-face, you could also do Facebook leads. Is there a good resource to learn the common best medical questions and medications so as to be more professional? Scott, you can get the pill book. I think it's on Amazon more if you really want to invest some time learning. My take on it is you'll just learn it through osmosis, right? The more that you do this business, the better you're going to get at it. You're going to be looking at the script guides. You're going to be reading about stuff. Like, you'll just learn it through exposure. That's certainly how I did. And I had no prior prescription pharmaceutical experience, but boy, did I know all these drugs, after about 6 months for sure. It's just like everything. It takes time. Hey, Scott, is there a good resource to learn the common best? Oh, just read that. Hey, David, can you sell Medicare and FE at the same time with live transfers? Possibly, but I don't do it anymore. I've gotten out of the Medicare space entirely on a recruitment basis. From a business strategic standpoint, I realized that I was disseminating my focus, and what the core competency I have is final expense. And so about 2 years ago, I just basically shelved Medicare from a recruitment standpoint and said, I'm going all in the final expense so that I can build this business as effective and as high quality as possible. Because if I'm trying to do everything and be everything to everybody, like I'm just going to have a mediocre business. So I don't really know like the compliance issues with Medicare nearly as much as I used to. But with that said, from a sales standpoint, I mean, sure, assuming it was compliant, anything's possible. You can pivot and sell final expense all day long. Just got to have the right script. I'm going to pass a California accident health exam soon. Great. Hey, Angela, do you think it's enough to just have your life license, or do you think you need? Yeah, that's a great question. It's enough for our agency to sell final expense. You don't need a health insurance license, but I've always historically said to get the health license, because who knows, you may have a pivot and you find that life insurance isn't really what you wanted to sell, and you become attracted to health insurance or Medicare, and at least you have the licensing now and you don't have to take the test. You could always go back and take the test later, though. I did that. I knew when I first started, I had to start with something, and I started with life insurance and final expense. So I got the life license to begin with, and then the health license later. Okay, let's keep going. Then Denise, hey, Denise. Working part-time, what would be the minimum hours, and can we pick the day's work? Yes, with us at the DIG Agency, you're a 1099 independent contractor. And what that means is I cannot dictate to you the times nor the days in which you're to work. You have full control over when and what times to work within the realms of TCPA compliance. We won't let you call leads at 2 o'clock in the morning for obvious reasons, right? Because we'll get sued. So with that restriction, you can work whenever you want to. Now, I personally say I would not join my agency if you couldn't put in a solid 15 to 20 hours a week on the phone. Not 15 hours like, doing busy work and then 5 hours on the phone. A solid 15 to 20 hours on the dialer. Because you need time in this business to invest in the possibilities as well as to get better. Hey, Dave, I'm already licensed. I've sold FE. Do you offer ACA Medicare? No, not anymore. Check out Luis Moreno on YouTube, a friend in the business. He's very good at the business. Also, Justin Brock's good too. I know they can recruit. Hey, David, is there any paid base pay positions available until my license arrives? Nevada's taking 6 to 8 weeks plus another 1 to 2 weeks on. That's crazy. It takes so long. I'm on week 3. No, we don't have any. There may be some others in the space. I know that some Medicare opportunities have salary plus bonus. Same thing with property and casualty, but not life for the most part. Hey, David, I'm getting into the life insurance at a great company, but I hate the fact that I have to sell to warm leads, which are my friends and family. So yeah, I mean, you can be, so this is important. There's always going to be opinions on which lead system is better. Are referral, selling friends and family, purchase leads? The real answer is the lead system that's best is the one that you can do consistently over time. And if you have a problem, and this isn't a criticism, Benny, this is a reflection and even my choices. If you have a problem with the lead system and you're having a hard time swallowing it and you've given it some contemplation, that just may not be a good opportunity for you. You may have all the resources and training available, but if you won't do the lead system or just can't stand it, how successful really are you going to be? I think that's something to seriously consider. So for me, I did not want to sell friends and family. That's why I was attracted to final expense. I could just buy leads and not harass. In my mind at the time, I considered it harassment to get my friends and family to buy stuff. So that facilitated my ability to get into the business, which who could argue with that, right? So it's all about figuring out the easiest, most smoothest way for you to be in business and to pursue that route because it's already really freaking hard to begin with. And if you start stacking on things you just can't stand on top of something that's already difficult, your odds of success drop. Roast beef salad. Hey, David, I've learned via failure, that phone sales is much more difficult than face-to-face sales. Now I'm going back to face-to-face sales. Any tips? Yeah, I mean, some questions I would ask you. Did you fail because you didn't have the right resources and training? I have found, and this is just my opinion for what it's worth, I feel like telesales is not as difficult as face-to-face if you have the right training. I used to think the same thing, but the truth is I didn't do a lot of telesales, so I didn't know any better. And then when we started doing telesales in 2020, I realized, okay, it's not that much different. It's different, but it can be learned. With that said, I do believe that some agents are better off face-to-face than telesales. Just like the lead system is important to consider, the style in which you sell is important too. So if you're going back to face-to-face, man, the thing I could say is probably less competitive now face-to-face than it ever has been before. We used to earnestly try to recruit face-to-face agents, and I just don't anymore because 95% of the applicants, the market wants telesales. They want remote business, which is fantastic. You don't have to go into these homes anymore that smell like ammonia and cat pee, and God knows what else. If you're into that, great. I mean, I was for years and it worked fine. But the market doesn't want that now. So I stopped supporting it. But I otherwise think it's a great opportunity. With that said, I imagine if you're selling final expense, that direct mail is less expensive now too, which is good. So, but other than that, face-to-face is the same as it ever has been. It's all about your presentation at the door, the script to get in, being assumptive, right? Getting in and doing the traditional approach to selling. So if you can do it and want to, more power to you. I think it's probably one of the better times to. Pool and outdoors. Hey, final expense for a typical 76-year-old for 25,000, no health issues. Also final expense 26-year-old. It's 26-year-old, 76-year-old, 25,000 pacemaker. I don't know. Get insurance toolkits, pool and outdoors, run some numbers. I would imagine if it's a female non-smoker, probably 150 to 200 a month, roughly. Might be off a little bit though. It's been a while since I've looked at numbers. Hey, Gerard, have you ever cold door knocked a neighborhood? Yeah, I went out with an agent friend of mine named Lewis. And this was during my failure year. And I observed him cold calling out in the sticks in Nyota, Tennessee. And he got a couple presentations and made a few sales. I mean, it definitely works. It's not for the faint of heart. I think you just have to develop a thick skin and approach it. One thing you can do to kind of, I think, level up the cold approach is to buy a mailing list of people 65 and older and just knock those doors, and then carry with you that direct mail piece that they all get, and then script it out and say, hey, my name is David Dufort. I'm here because we sent you this card, never got anything back from you. My job is just to follow up with people that don't fill these out and wanted to spend 5 minutes. Showing you how it works. Can we sit out in the front porch or can I come in? So some approach like that. For the free lead program, what is the beginning commission rate, please? Hey, Darlene, I'm sorry, it's 40%. Once you, right now at the current filming of this, once you write 100,000 in non-guaranteed issue business, it moves up to 50%. Once you write 250,000 in non-guaranteed issue business, it moves up to 60%. That is on our primary product. Some of our other products that we have, but that aren't our primary product, pay a little bit less, typically about half. I can go into more detail if you want. When am I getting my black belt? Hey, Guamtech. I don't know. I mean, whenever, probably I would think in the next 5 years. My goal going into jiu-jitsu now is I just go in, I have a plan of where my weaknesses are and what I need to do to get better. And one of the things I can absolutely recommend, jiu-jitsu is like selling final expense. It's extremely frustrating. It's very demoralizing, but eventually you start to get it. And then you get good at it. And then it's actually pretty cool. But it's cool. And I don't want to get too much down the jiu-jitsu nerd stuff, but I'll say this to end it. One of the things that's good about weight training or doing martial arts, especially jiu-jitsu or probably wrestling is in the same category, maybe judo too, is that this is where the ego goes to die, right? And, I'm like everybody else. I think I'm pretty cool. But then I go in and there's some dude who's 10, 20 years older than me, and I'm 40, and they completely demolish me. And nothing that I worked on actually worked. It's very frustrating, but it reminds yourself to humble yourself and to look for opportunities to improve. It's a good kind of ancillary thing that pairs well with what we do in business and in life, that failure is a part of the process that really develops a better outcome, a better person, a better skill set. So of course, I absolutely recommend jiu-jitsu. I certainly will post it. Go on, check when that happens. Okay. Does experience, take TK, does experience or schooling take priority for companies to vet agents? No, not anymore. I mean, frankly, the way we vet agents is, can you pay the initiation fee, and are you not a jerk? That's pretty much all we need from an agent to join. We used to be, the reason we did this is because we used to be particular about who we recruited. And the frustrating thing for me as a business owner was, I know we absolutely did not recruit people that otherwise were talented but didn't have the scale, the experience. And nothing frustrates me more than to see my competition on YouTube have a featured video about how XYZ agent wrote 40,000 in business. Like, that makes me angry. Because I'm like, we had that guy. I go look at my registry, and he certainly tried to recruit with us before or join us, and we turned him down. And it just pisses me off, to be frank. So we just decided that, hey, if you're willing to pay the initiation fee, and I explain why we do that, I can if you'd like me to. That shows us you're serious. You're putting money where your mouth is, and we'll give you a shot. And incidentally, having the monies from the initiation fee allows us to keep agents on longer and to have a longer runway with them to help train, support, and develop them than we had prior. So again, I can go into more details if you'd like me to, but that's kind of the explanation. Hey, Kevin. EOforless.com, Dylan. Frank Dylan. Darlene, there we go. EOforless.com. Hey, Darlene, typical time in the phone dialer to close a sale. Your old video says 3+ hours. I think there's some conflation there or something else. It's always taken about 20 to 30 minutes to have a client buy verbally, and then probably another 15 to 30, depending on the application, to get it approved. So 45 minutes to an hour, I would say, over the phone sale is what I would expect. We've cut that down to some extent to probably closer to 40 to 50 minutes, just in some revisions to our scripting. By the way, if you want our script, that's pretty much the exact same one we use at the DIG Agency. You can go to davidford.com/ISS. I'll throw it in the chat. Look, after you register, it's a Insurance Sales Success is the forum. We have like 11,000 members. It's totally free. There's no charge. The purpose of this is to provide you free training. We have deep dive training, the script, like I mentioned. Definitely jump into it. Tom, be more specific what you want me to explain, which aspect of the initial fee, and I'll do it, like how much, et cetera. I'll get to it eventually, and then be happy to explain it. Okay. So yeah, 30 minutes to 45 minutes is roughly the term. Closer to 45 minutes is probably the average sale time. Hey, David, appreciate all your honesty with all the issues revolving around the other companies. You taught me a lot, and that's why I want to have my career here. Thank you. Appreciate it, man. Yeah. Is the commission rate the same if you sell to friends and family? Yeah, we just have no way to make clear the difference. So, and we don't even encourage you to sell friends and family. I think that's part of the deal. Like, as mentioned earlier, Sherry, a lot of people join us because they don't want to do the MLM thing, and they feel, and I'm not saying it necessarily is, that selling friends and family is MLM-ish. So we don't encourage that. You certainly can, but you're definitely going to take a commission cut because it's going to be free leads versus a higher commission. So you're not cutting based off of what it is, but it's not going to be any higher, if that makes sense. If I confused you or anybody else on that, let me know and I'll explain it again. Let me get this mic here closer. I feel like I'm talking very quietly today. I'm sorry. Unwind this thing a little bit. Okay. What is the average? By the way, hit the like button again for you new people. I demand you immediately, please, pretty please. That helps get our content served up on YouTube better. So thank you for doing that. David says, what is the average monthly cost to the agent with the DIG Dialer, CRM, and other needed programs? If you are in our free lead program, there is no cost besides the initiation fee, the non-resident license fee, errors and omissions, $40 a month. And then if you want to, you can get a quote or pricer that's $35 a month. But beyond that, there's no price to the dialer, the CRM, The leads, that's the biggest driver of costs. As a free lead agent, everything's free beyond what I just mentioned. Now, we do also offer the opportunity to do what we call going broker. And that's after you get your start in free leads. When you feel you're ready, we will allow you to take a higher commission contract at 100% plus commission, all the way up to 130%, depending on your production. And then use our system, again, for a cost, leads, the lead management system, dialer, CRM. You can use all that, and but then have higher commission and pay for your own leads. And the reason we did that, or we do that, is because this business model has a ton of failure, meaning insurance sales, this industry does. And I think one of the ways to reduce failure, not to eliminate it, some people fail anyway with free leads, but it's to reduce the biggest expenses that a lot of people take for granted, which in fact are leads. And so what I like to say to agents is that if you start with the DIG Agency and the free lead program, you're basically letting us carry the vast majority of the risks. You obviously have some expenses like the initiation fee and these other things, but it's not like 10 or 15,000 potentially in wasted lead cost, or so on. So it's a good way to test the business out on our dime. And then at some point in the future, when you've saved enough money, if this is you don't have to do this. It's just an option. But in the future, you have the opportunity to move over to broker and then own your book of business, have higher commissions, own the leads, buy the system, everything, right? So it's a great way to get started, get some safety, develop a skill set, and then have an ability to graduate to the next level with as little risk as possible. And the cool thing that we do in the broker program is that right now, this may change, but as soon as you write $25,000 in business, that's not guaranteed issue every month. If you can hit that number monthly, we reimburse you for all of the costs to run our systems, not including leads. You do have to pay for the lead costs, but like the lead management costs, the CRM, the dialer, we pay all that if you hit that minimum threshold. So that's like an incentive to, write more business. Okay. All right. Okay. Get to the bottom here. Again, throw your questions in the chat. Thank you so much for all the questions. Appreciate it. I'm in my 40s and have a PNC license. Was wondering if life should be my next step. Yeah, if you think so. I mean, I would say, so this may sound kind of counterintuitive, but, Darlo, you have a skill set in property and casualty. Like you understand the carriers, you understand how your clients think. My first reaction, like if you're just a family member or friend, the first thing I would say to you is like, why not figure out how to do more business in PNC? Not that I'm trying to discourage you from life, but I think what a lot of agents incorrectly think is they have to do more to make more, do more products, get into different niches and kind of generalize their approach. My experience has been the better producing agents with higher incomes tend to be really good in one thing. And they put all their effort to be narrow but deep in their knowledge and therefore end up winning a ton more business and making a lot more money. So as a friend or a family member, Darla, I would tell you to do the same thing. Like really think about it. Like, is there a way you can make more money? Because the odds and the risk factor is the odds that you could are higher because you already know it. The risks are lower because you already know it. Whereas if you go to a whole new life or a whole new product, it's a whole new industry. It's a whole new lead system. It's a whole new sales process. There are risks that you may not be considering. So something to think about at least. Do you plan on collecting, making training videos on how to go through the filling out the apps of all the carriers, including phone interviews? All the carriers have that, Alan. If you're in our agency, you don't see them, let me know. I'll be happy to point them out to you. But carriers are usually responsible for the A to Z guide to completing an application because that stuff changes frequently as they update applications, et cetera. And usually they have something that's akin to a video walkthrough that you can use. Is your part-time based on 20 hours of talk time? Yes. 15 to 20 is kind of what I'm looking at. Hey, ASMR Fairy. Joined PHP, but I have realized I'm not interested in recruiting. Are there good companies that have good commission without recruiting? Of course, I'll explain that, I think we do. All I care about is agents selling remotely from home and letting us provide the leads and the sales training without any sort of MLM nonsense. If my company didn't do well for you, certainly look online. There's others. You have Dana Neeson, Justin Von Eigen. They're definitely sales oriented. I don't know where Julian and Tim are. They may not be in final expense anymore. I think they're doing IULs now, but they're sales focused. Peter Roberts is too as well. So there's a lot of options on YouTube if you look around. Of course, look at me first, but look elsewhere too. Just if, last thing I'll say, if it smells like MLM, it probably is, and don't do it. Trust your gut. Yeah. So the initial fee as of today is $1,000. Again, I explained why we do that earlier. Just rewind back if you're interested for the full detailed explanation. And then around $1,000 in non-resident licenses to purchase. Why do we require the licensing? Because you can't generate leads effectively without at least close to a dozen states in our system. And I find that most agents, even individual agents, need like a half dozen in order to make it work. So if you want me to something to specifically expand on the initiation fee, let me know. Any recommendations for licensing schools? Hey, Dario, do the Insurance Exam Queen. She's got a great channel, lots of really good free content. It might be enough. She also has some paid courses you can do. She seems to have a really good thing going. I'll definitely check that out. 70 watching, only 8 likes. I got 39 on my side. But you can hit that like button if you haven't already. I certainly appreciate it. Hey, Darlene, I'm sorry I wasn't clear. My fault. Working 40 hours, should I generally translate to number of sales? Yeah, so I'll give you some ranges, Darlene. So my best agents will close 1 sale every 2 hours, which is incredible. So they would write 20 sales in 40 hours. Our really good agents, like top 20%, are going to write a sale every 3 hours. A kind of middle of the road agent that's probably a top 60%, the top 80% of the agents probably will write 1 out of 4 sales. And then mediocre and lower is 1 sale every 5 hours. If you're only doing 1 sale every 5 hours, like you have serious things you can improve upon, right? And so we've got a full, like I said, for us, we've got 2 full-time sales trainers that help coach you. They'll actually listen into your calls to give you some advice on what to improve in order to progress the call, get over some of the issues in the front end and the back end and objection handling. There's lots of opportunities to improve that number. Again, I want as many of my people selling 1 out of 4, because 1 out of 4, if you do 40 hours, is 10 sales. And that's really where you want to be in this business, I think, to make a good income. Only writing like 1 sale, like 7 or 8 sales a week it's not enough. I mean, I would want more personally. Okay. What are the chargebacks? Are chargebacks bad? They can be. If you sell especially products that don't bill right. All of our primary products use Social Security deposit billing, so we take the money on the exact deposit date. That's hugely important. And the other thing is selling to the need. If Mildred makes $1,000 a month and I'm like headlocking her into a close and I take $300 a month, that's a guaranteed lapse, right? So instead, what we teach is to sell the premium. So we basically do a budget sale where we figure out what they can absolutely 100% afford in their budget. And I find if there's no pressure in saying yes to a budget, and we take the money before they withdraw it from their ATM, because a lot of our people take their money out of the bank and they forget there's a draft. And if you can beat them to the ATM, your persistency is going to be about as good as possible. And what's good persistency? Telesales, 75% to 80% of your business needs to stick. I think that's very possible. Okay. Where can I find more information about the broker system? You can email us, Dean, but we do not recruit brokers off the street. You have to be in our free lead program first. It's kind of like a trial by fire thing. Again, with a broker system, it just never was successful for us to take agents off the street. They have bad habits. They have bad work ethics. They aren't as coachable. And my thinking on it is, let's just not allow agents to start there. Let's get them in the free leads first, where it's like boot camp. And then when they're ready and they've got the training and the confidence, then move into broker. Because a lot of people we had would go fail brokering because they just didn't have the money and they overestimated the amount of risk that there was. So we're very particular about approaching brokering. We don't want to make it too easy, but we allow it now. So we just want to make it right so that the agent survives and thrives. That's critical. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. Will, hey, Will, are there any additional monthly fees besides the initial fee for the program? Yeah, you've got errors and emissions insurance. That's like general liability. That's $40 a month. And then you've got your underwriter pricer insurance toolkits. That's $35 a month. I think that's it. That should be it. And then every 2 years, you have to renew your licenses. So that's about it. Darlene, lots of thoughts. I sold a lot of annuities when I was a financial professional. Can you talk about if when annuities can be sold? Yeah. We actually work with Jess Fox, who does a weekly training on our insurance sales success, strictly about annuities. She's either a top of the table or a member of the table. I forget what it's called, MDRT. Because of her annuity production. In other words, she's a very elite agent and she's very good at producing, and she teaches for free. If you can sign up at davidduford.com/ISS and then join those. One of the things that she started off with, she actually used to be a final expense agent with us in 2019, and she sold door to door. And there was all sorts of annuities and final expense leads. Like one of her $1 million cases, the first one she ever wrote was a final expense lead. Just got to know what questions to ask, and she can teach you how to do that. Okay. Time period for chargeback, typically 60 days grace period. Is there a spreadsheet listing the current preferred carriers on the website? No. But let me see if I can pull it up here. If you guys don't mind waiting a moment, and then I can show you what I got. I won't take too long, guys. If I can't find it, I can't find it. I know it's on I think it's on the main, it is on the main video on davidduford.com. So again, I don't know what the name of the file is. I'm sorry. Otherwise, I'd be like, yeah, here it is. Yeah, look at davidduford.com and you'll probably find it there. And just scroll. Oh, actually, I got an idea. I'll scroll through the video and show it. How about that? Just bear with me here. There it is. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. Cough here real quick. Let me pull it up. All right. Here it is. Okay. So I'll try to explain this to you. It's not all of them, but our main carrier is American Amicable. Our backup carrier is American Home Life. Also Mutual of Omaha, Trinity, and Sika. So for American Amicable, the better pay is with them. There's several different products you can choose from. Some of the older ages and some of the graded or return of premium, which are riskier cases, pay less. So just pay attention to that, please. And then, of course, like I said, Mutual of Omaha, Sika level, and then Trinity pay about half. So I'm going to try to see if I can scroll up there. There it is. It's hard to see because I've cut the screen out, so I apologize. So American Home Life pays the same as American Amicable at the higher level. Mutual of Omaha is here. You can see the commission level there. Again, a little more than half. Same thing with Sika and Trinity. Now, the one thing that we pay very low on is guaranteed issue. To be honest, guaranteed issue is no questions asked insurance. It's like, think about somebody who has 9 toes in the grave. Yeah, that's who buys that. And so the problem with that is that the business tends to lapse more often. It tends to have billing issues, higher not taken rates, people who don't even make it to the first payment. And it just doesn't pay very well. So what we've had to do is cut the guaranteed issue comp in order to justify even having it. And we've thought about even getting rid of it. But yeah, that's the big thing. So, the goal, what we try to do is create ads that are not like, hey, you can be almost dead and get coverage, because then you get a bunch of that crap. So a lot of what we write tends to be more of the level coverage or kind of modified or graded, which pays you better. Anything you want me to expand on that, please let me know. All right. Hey, Mindcool. Hey, TK. So I'm gathering that an agent from California can work from DIG. Absolutely. You can absolutely work with us. We'll take agents anywhere across this great nation, no matter what state you're in. The key thing is you got to have non-resident licenses in other states in order to operate with us. We tell you how to get those, what it is. I can explain things if you want me to. However, they would have to sell states outside of their own. Yes. What is the additional state licensing requirement? It's another 11 or 12 states, and it's about $1,000 investment. We go over what they are. There's probably somebody on here that knows them and can throw them in the chat, but it's like Texas, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, North and South Carolina, Ohio, Michigan, I think Missouri and Mississippi. There's probably a few I'm forgetting, but those are the primary ones. And that's all we need to start it. Thank you. $1 Million Roundtable. Thanks, Michael. Let's see here. Hey, Gabe, how do you feel about selling Medicare over the phone? I think it works great. It's been done longer than final expense. My friend in the business who just sold his business, Christopher Westfall, he was one of the first guys doing Medicare sales and talking about it and doing it all over the phone back in 2011 or so, probably prior to that. And he's just done an incredible job. And I hope to be at the top with him one day and selling the business like he has and make an arm and a leg, I guess you could say. But anyways, it works just fine. There's all sorts of strategies. You can look at Justin Brock's content. Like final expense, the Medicare business is predominantly over the phone now. No problem, TK. I'm thinking about making transition. Yeah, do it virtual. It works. It's different. You got to learn the virtual approach, but it definitely works. Do I have to pay the program to get hired? Yes. Yes, the initiation fee is required. Hey, man, great content. How do you approach recruiting? What I'm doing right now. I mean, I am not some master strategist. I just come on and help people without any expectation. I told some dude that interviewed me today for his channel, like that's my like secret cheat code in life and in business is just help out people without expectation. And what I found is by doing this, it was slow in the beginning, but most people just won't do what works long enough. They just quit. And that's where I've thrived is I don't quit. I just keep going and going. And now I've got this incredible brand and people want to work with me and our team. And it's a blessing. Thank God. And, but it's because of the time and the commitment that I put into it, the unwavering commitment to helping. So, you know, in other words, start a YouTube channel, put out an amazing content and don't quit. Like keep your head down for the next 10 years. I wish there was an easy way, but there's not. The other ways that work are recruiting friends and family, getting them to recruit friends and family. It sucks. I wouldn't do it, but it works. And there's people who do it successfully. It comes with the baggage that we talked about today, but it does work. I probably wouldn't recruit using cold ads or Indeed and stuff. Like those are just the worst forms of marketing because people don't trust you, you know. You could also get involved on Reddit, Facebook groups, anywhere where agents acclimate or associate. I've had some good success on Reddit, just posting stuff up there. So again, the new way to recruit is giving good content. It doesn't have to be on YouTube. It just needs to be on some form of social media where there's agents and to really go above and beyond in the value of the content. That is the separator and then doing it for a decade. Hey, Mindcool. Hi, David. How much money will I need to start overall in the part-time final expense agent working 20, 25 hours a week? Probably $2,000 roughly. And then recurring $75 a month or so. And that goes towards errors and emissions and then your quote or price guide. What about errors and emissions insurance? Hopefully I covered that. I can cover it again if you want me to. And again, any questions here, guys? I got about 5 minutes. Throw them in. I'll answer them and then wrap it up. Then I'm getting some five guys. I'm starving. Okay. I saw Preston Hicks in your video recently. Who? Philly Blunt. Are you living up to your name? Sorry, I can help it. I don't know a Preston Hicks. Let me double check here. I'm going to copy and paste his name. Because otherwise, if Preston Hicks is with us and I'm just a total jerk, that's not going to be good. Let me just look up here. Preston Hicks. Preston. Let's see. I talked to him on School, which is our insurance sales success forum. But that was like 2 years ago. I vaguely remember who this guy is. You'll have to inform me. Okay. All right. Dolores, hey, under your agency, an agent can sell final expense and Medicare plans? If so, the commissions are paid directly from the carriers. No, you cannot sell Medicare with us, just final expense. We don't teach agents to do the hybrid thing. And as a free lead agent, you're getting paid from the DIG agency. We own the book of business. But as soon as you're ready to go broker and buy your own leads and fund your own business model, then you own the book at that point for any future business written. So yeah, that's how that works. How long does the client need to keep the policy so we don't get chargebacks? 9 months, roughly. You're welcome, TK. Thank you, Beatrice. Yeah, if you want to, go to https://www.daviddufour.com. Learn more about working with me here. Okay. So check the chat out if you're interested in learning more. Okay. Gabe, what's good retention selling Medicare over the phone? It depends on what you sell. I mean, like if you sell D-SNPs and low income subsidy clients, like the retention is probably 70%, 75%. Like it's not great. Those people get flipped constantly. If you sell T65, probably better. If you're selling referrals that are T65, probably amazing. So it just, a lot of it depends on the type of lead that you're working for sure. And certainly the type of Medicare sale you're making. And do you know if people have had good success generating leads off of Facebook? Sure. Yeah. I mean, you can go through the referral creating process with existing clients or center of influences. So there's a lot of opportunities, direct mail that work. Although I have an agent who's crushed in Medicare. This year, he wrote over 300 policies during AEP. And Medicare leads are like, direct mail leads are like 65 or $70 a lead. Whereas 3 years ago, they were like 20. So it's how everything is. Market changes. You got to roll with the punches. We don't do VULs or variable annuities, just fixed index annuities. Hey, Dave. Oh, E-Dub. Hey, been watching you for a while. Love your content. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. What is the average pay for the part-time you're seeing? If we sign people up in our area without calling them as, yes. Yeah, I don't want you to, like, people who join us, their job is not to find leads. That's my job. Use our system. We will keep you busy. You will not run out of leads. We have so many leads. We will keep you busy. Like, that's the goal of working with us. I can't say it enough, is let us worry about leads. I don't want you wasting your time making 40% commission on leads that you paid for or you had to go work to find. Like, work our system. That's why it's there. And that's why you're getting paid 40%, not a higher commission, because that's the trade-off. Average part-time, I mean, my goal for you would be to make 1,000 a week, free and clear, 800 to 1,000, somewhere in that range. If you put in 15 to 20 hours of talk time, it could be a lot higher than that. Could be lower than that. Could be zero. I don't know. But you get what I'm saying. Like, if I'm going to put 20 hours a week into something, I want to make 4 or 5 grand. That's what I would think. Okay. Your script, is that on ISS? Is it the updated script? Yeah. Well, there may be a few updates that that are not in there, but it's like 99% the same. And then watch the deep dive training that's there as well as I walk through the script to kind of explain the logic. Average premium for us is $950 to $1,000. Persistency, or a 75% advance. Yeah. We're selling straight final expense. We don't work in a higher premium pot. Like some agencies will work in term. or like a higher value life case. We just do final expense. So 950 is about where we're at. I'd like to see it, 1,000 to 1,100 be great, but 950 is not bad either. What's your agency retention rate for clients? It depends on the carrier. The goal is 75% to 80%. That's what I like seeing. Let's see here. But some carriers are worse than others, Tom, for sure. Like we got rid of AIG because their not taken rate was terrible and their persistency is just garbage. And you just can't run that on a freely program. There's not enough margin to justify it. Not to mention the billing sucks. So these are things we've learned because I certainly don't know everything. Billing is very, very important if you sell with us or not. I see a lot of your video and appearances on others. You always come across as helpful. Thank you. Appreciate that. I do my best. Alan, is it possible to start part-time and move full-time? Yeah. Yeah. Or start full-time and then go part-time. Yeah. You do what you want, man. Like it's surprisingly open-ended, but it's because legally you're not an employee. So if I go around and say, you got to work these hours on these days at these times, or you're fired, like you would go to court and sue me for, I don't know what they call it, but it ain't good for me. So 1099s are independent contractors. So you have more freedom to do business as you please. So that's why I'm like, you can just do what you want. Like I had a dude that Evan McGuffey, he was doing part-time with us just for a couple of months. And he just rolled out a commission tracking program called Comstat or something. I forget what it's called, but he's in the tech space for insurance agents. So he just did it temporarily before moving on to his next thing. We're cool with that. Sorry, lost mine. Are leads recycled or brand new? Both. Okay, so let me define recycled. A recycled lead is a lead that has never picked up the phone or is a client that has lapsed and got put back in the system, or we're trying to reach them to basically rewrite the policy. That's a recycled lead. But what we don't recycle are closed sales until they're about a year in and they're about up to the first year of the policy or around their birthday. That's usually around the birthday is when the best chance to work those leads again to sell another policy, because it's about to be more expensive if you pick up another plan, right? There's a kind of reason why to call them. So, but understand, and this surprises people, in our business model, half of our sales come from leads that are 8 days old to 120 days old. Okay, half. So we actually just recently removed leads that are over 4 months old because what we found is there was just diminishing returns in getting sales off of them. And we had about 500,000 calls realized to determine that in our case, 5% of our sales came after the 41st or the 120th day. 41st dial or the 120th day. So it was like, why are we sending agents to call this crap that never picks up, that never even sales? Like, we just got to get rid of it and buy more leads, which is what we've done. So I expect the metrics to improve. But my point is that fresh leads are definitely there for new agents, but the age leads are good too. What I have discovered is is it a new lead or an age lead that determines if it's good or bad. It's how is the lead generated? A good lead is good, aged or new. A bad lead sucks if it's new or aged. So the issue is it a good lead? And for us, at least, we self-generate all of our own leads. We have an internal marketing department that I pay money for. We do not outsource leads. We certainly don't buy them like a lot of these other guys do and then live transfer them. And it's just complete garbage. So I am of the persuasion that that's a better deal that way. No, you don't need to pay for leads, CMDB. Good to meet you, though. We are a free lead organization. My last FMO sold leads, and it's what took me out of life. Yeah. And stuck strictly to Medicare. Yeah. Thanks, Dave. I appreciate it. You're welcome. Do you have any experience with insurance advertising masters? I need to know the people behind the name, and then I could tell you if I do or not. Not ringing a bell, though. Do you still have to take time? Do you still take time to sell over the phone yourself, or are you busy running DIG? Yeah, I have graduated to running a business and not selling anymore. I haven't sold a policy since 2019. And I've stopped part-time work probably in 18. So in this business, just like in any business, you have to decide where you're going to get the most value extracted. And it's funny because you can go back and see me from the beginning. It's a cool thing about YouTube. Like you can see me in my car holding up an iPhone 4, going between appointments that were preset or were door knocking. And I'm talking about the business, right? This is like 2014. It was just me doing the business, right? And now it's like 2025. I'm old. My hair is balding. And I have an operations manager, 2 sales managers, a recruitment manager, an entire marketing team, tons of support staff to make things happen, accounting team. Like I'm like a real business now, you know? And so in life, in the expansion of your business and getting next level, you have to make these decisions to give up certain activities. And I would contend that there's nothing wrong as a beginning broker or, excuse me, beginning agency builder to sell. You should. But there's some point where you have to make that decision where you're going to have to turn it over to the team and focus your efforts on the creative side of building your agency because it takes a ton of effort. It's a different mode of work than selling for sure. But as the leader of the company, you know, you're needed in a different capacity. And so that's eventually what happened with me. All right. I don't know shit, Richard. Hey, Richard, about selling final expense or insurance. I'm a newbie. What age range are buying final expense? Typically people 60 and older, low income, retired, or on disability. What age range are buying final expense? I'm a dentist. I wonder if dorky dentists would be a good market. I would not think so. Dentists are 6-figure earning professionals. You would probably do better selling them annuities and retirement strategies, personally, is what I would think. Guaranteed income, Medicare is another thing. You might even be able to sell them on selling dental to their patients so they can have an insurance to bill. I wouldn't sell them final expense. They usually have more than enough money to take care of it. It just doesn't make sense for them. Could sell to broke dentists. Not many of them, though. Do we need Windows or PC? Yeah, either or fine. You're welcome, LaShawn. Will the free lead program ever let the agent keep the future business? Only if you move to being a broker. You cannot run profitably. And we did this for a year, Lou. Let me be 100% clear, where the agent owned the business. And it just doesn't make sense. There are bad agents that will try to replace that business, even though we bought the leads, we funded the system. Like we're putting all the investment in for the most part. So we own the book. That only makes sense. So the pathway to ownership to the book is the broker program. And when you do all the investment, the significant investment, especially in the leads, you should own your book of business. So that's how we position getting the book ownership if that's something important to you. What about the Medicare or ACA are still we're done with that. It just doesn't make sense for our business model anymore. Just final expense. Hey, Edub, if we join, do you pay the initiation fee first and apply for carriers? Yes. Do people who don't get approved the carriers? Yeah, I'd pay them back if that was the case for sure. Like I've got a reputation to maintain online. Remember that. That's what's cool doing business with me. Like at any point, somebody can go out there and talk crap, and then I have to attest for it. You know, my entire business is online based. So I'm very sensitive to making sure that anything we do is fair and that we treat people fairly. So it's very rare that somebody's going to get turned down for carriers. But like if in the appointment process, there were some issues and it just wasn't working, I would absolutely give your money back. What we're not going to do is like you join, you use our resources, you get trained, and you find this isn't for you. No, we're not going to refund you. Can we also work our own leads? You can, but I don't think it would be a good use of your money because of the contract. Our contract doesn't support you buying leads. It's the occasional friend or family maybe, but really what we have done with the system and the purpose of it is to work our leads exclusively. We want to keep you as busy as possible. Oh yeah, Justin Falk. That's funny. That dude's been around a long time. He's had a couple of different business names. I don't know to what extent the quality of the system is, but I know what you're talking about. He's been around for a while. For the Done For You program, hey, Mark, does the broker own the book of business? Hey, yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, if you go broker, for sure. Like if you switch to broker, you own the book of business. So all of those clients that you would write from there on out is yours 100%. You're welcome, Richard. Just making sure I didn't miss anything. Almost done here. Darlene, perhaps I missed this. Can you speak to your agency training for your new agents? Or yeah, so we have live sales calls to listen to from top producers. We do regular meetings throughout the week. We have essentially a course to practice and study all the different elements that are necessary to be successful. There's a ton of structured training and a lot of ability to get feedback from professionals at Telesales. So lots of stuff to keep you as busy as possible, learning and being as prepared and confident as possible. Remember, I don't know if you know this, like I started my business in 2013, and the main motivation for me was I looked around 11 years ago, 12 years ago now, and I saw that the training sucked into. Nobody trained well. It was all MLM BS. And I was like, man, where's the agency that focuses on agents selling successfully? So that's training agents to be successful has always been the cornerstone to what my business is about. So Matlock. I bet half the people on here don't even know what Matlock is. So MacBook would work well. Maybe, I think so. You may need some more real estate for your monitors. I don't know if one monitor is enough. Yeah, man. Yeah, hold on. I'm almost done. All right. Well, after I wrap up. Sorry, my son's yelling at me. Okay. He's probably hungry. He's a teenager. You're welcome, Shannon. Dolores, hello again, David. Are leads available in Spanish? Some come in Spanish, but we don't intentionally target Spanish speakers because we just don't, they're just too expensive. And it's probably not too hard to find Spanish speaking agents, but it's a bottleneck to some extent versus we just market everything in English. And most of the Spanish speaking agents can speak English and then also handle the occasional Spanish lead. So we really haven't delved into it, but it's such a recurring question. I wonder how big of a market. I wonder if there is a market for testing that. I should bring that up. That's I'll do it. Thank you, Gabe. What kind of expenses involved with becoming a broker? Good question. So DIG dialer, $425 a month. The CRM is $200 a month. So that's $625. The management is $700. So that's $1325, right? And then errors and omissions and what's the other one? The quoter, about $1,400. But if you write $25,000 in business, not including guaranteed issue, so forget guaranteed issue, everything else, if it exceeds $25,000 a month, then we reimburse you for those expenses associated with us charging you. Not E&O, not the dialer, not E&O, not the quoter, but the dialer, CRM, and lead management fee will cover that as a broker. Good. Thank you, Edub. That's why I do these, to help and to sell. The irony, of course, in giving away without expectation, it's probably the best sales pitch ever. Okay. What kind of expense? Okay, got that. Hey, Armando, are you familiar with the PNC side? I know that there's some PNC people. If you want to comment, it's a good time to get in PNC. I've heard it's really bad. We were actually looking at starting a call center on the PNC side, but I was deterred because a lot of the wildfires and the natural disasters, I think the hurricane, like a lot of these companies have been just ravaged by claims and they have shut down cross-border sales. Like in Tennessee, it's for some companies, it's next impossible to sell in the next state over. And if you run a call center, you can't just run one state for the most part, unless you're like California or something. So I was like, man, that's crazy. When's that going to stop? And the people I were talking to were like, hopefully soon. And I'm like, well, okay. So I don't know. I'm not so hot on PNC, but I'm sure there are plenty of agents that are successful at it. I would do one or the other, Armando. I think one of the biggest lessons I've learned is pick your poison, and it's better to be a specialist than a generalist. Pick the product that you're most excited about and become the master at it, right? Because if you're really good at the product, people will pay for your expertise. They can tell you're a pro and they'll want to do business with you, as opposed to if you're a generic agent. Let's see. Right, but just checking with the Mac. Yeah, the Mac Apple-based computer is fine. The market in the Spanish-speaking community, I know there is. It's just getting leads affordably is the key. How's the initial fee? It's $1,000. Same as part or full-time, yes. And then 1,000 in licensing for sure. And you're welcome. I think we're about at the end here. So can you work? Yeah, 410s is fine. Sure. Like a nurse. To become a DIG agent, it was recommended that you be on the webinar. Yeah. If you go to daviddufour.com, Richard, there's a Q&A call. Hop onto that and ask us questions after you look at the overview video on the main page. And yeah, that should be all you need to do. And then you'll see what to do from there as far as how to apply and do that stuff. Okay. Last thing here, of course, I'll share with you our newest family member. It's been about a year since we got Dolly, the cat. Say hi, Dolly. This is a rag doll. Rag dolls are very relaxed, good kitties. They just let you hold them and love on them. She is 14 pounds and she's not even a year old. She's an enormous cat. They call them rag dolls because you can do this to them, you know, and they'll be chill, you know. So she's a good cat. She meows at 3 a.m. Loves to see us. I don't like the meows at 3 a.m. But I am a cat man. After all the years spending time with cat ladies on final expense, I finally became one of them. Okay. Yeah, Tim, my operations manager has 3 Maine Coons. Yeah, they're huge. We like Maine Coons too. So we're cat people. Yeah. I'm not a dad joke guy. I'm trying to think of a dad joke. I don't have one. All right. Got to go grind on some teeth. All right. Good luck, Dennis. See you, Richard. All right. And thank you guys for being here again. If you're interested in more about what we do to join our agency, it's daviddufour.com, just my name. The description it's in the description, the link. If you're a broker and you're interested in our CRM, that's finalexpensecrm.com. Our dialer is digdialer.com. It's not ready yet, but it will be in a couple of weeks. And then our lead management is getfeleads.com. Again, if you're interested in the free lead program, you don't have to pay for any of this stuff. But if you're a broker and you're not necessarily interested in joining, that's what that's for. So, yeah, love the cat ladies. They pay my bills after all. Right? Okay. Thanks, guys. We're going to do these weekly, by the way. So come back and join us next Tuesday at 4. I think I'm in town. The next week I won't be. But I'll see you again. Thanks, guys.